Hey guys, and welcome back to yet another episode. I've been getting a lot of requests lately on Facebook and on Twitter to start doing some more arcade-centered stuff. I've been doing a lot of arcade stuff lately personally, but haven't really been doing much in the way of videos as far as that stuff goes. So today, that's exactly what we're gonna do. I'm gonna show you guys how to hook up a Capcom CPS2 board in a JAMA cabinet. It's pretty simple stuff for those of you guys who are familiar with arcade hardware, but for those of you guys getting into it or that may be interested in getting into it, this is definitely something that you'll need a run through on at some point, especially if you like the fighting games like I do. So what you're seeing right here, guys, is a Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter arcade board. This is a CPS2 board. This was a series of boards that Capcom put out back in the late 90s, or mid to late 90s. And the way that it works is actually two pieces. The black piece on the bottom is the motherboard, and the colored piece on the top, this blue thing here, actually works as like a cartridge that goes into the motherboard. The cool thing about this is once you have a single set like this one, the cartridge part on the top is interchangeable. So you can get these other cartridges without having to buy both boards as long as you have the one set, which is nice. The colors of the cartridges doesn't just dictate where it came from. It's just by region. So blue is US, green is Japan, and there are some other colors like orange and gray that are also in Japan and a few in Brazil, things like that. The US motherboards, the A boards on the bottom, are compatible with the US and Japanese cartridges, so you can use either one there. So now that we kind of have an idea of what this thing is, I'm going to show you the connections on the back of the board here. So right down here, as you can see, this is your standard JAMA connector, so your harness is going to plug directly into here. And this little guy here is going to be your kick harness. If you're not familiar with a kick harness, I'm going to show you guys exactly how to hook that up. These Capcom boards and a lot of fighting games, especially Capcom games, require what they call kick harnesses, because the JAMA standard is usually just covers 3 buttons. There are games that use more than that on the harness. Time Killers and Bloodstorm's a great example. They use 5 out of 6, or they use 5 buttons. Street Fighter the movie uses 5 out of 6. But anyway, with the Capcom boards, they only use 3 for each side, 3 buttons for each side. So your bottom 3 buttons on each side need to be controlled with this right here. So there's a little piece that plugs into here, and then it's a series of wires that come out and into your control panel where your sticks are, and you can hook them right up to your buttons that way. And here's just some extra audio out jacks on this side here. And that's about it for the actual board. There's a fan here on the other side, and as you can tell, this thing is a friggin' beast. These things are much bigger than you would think. They are absolutely enormous. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually put this board inside this Street Fighter 1 machine here. This is the only cabinet that I have at the moment, so I use this cabinet a lot, being that it has 6 buttons on it, since that means you can pretty much play any game you want to with 6. So I'm going to show you guys how to go ahead and put this board in. Okay, so I just went ahead and put the big old beast of a board inside the cabinet. Since the thing is so big, I can't really show you because the inside of the cabinet's so dark. I can kind of pan over real quick. You can't really see too much. But I actually have to put the board down here on the side because it's so big. There's nowhere else for me to really put it. But anyway, here's the other side of the kick harness that I was telling you about. So this plugs into the back of the board, and it has these wires which run all the way up to the back of your control panel, which again, it's really dark, so it can be hard to see. So anyway, we're going to take this end and we're going to plug it right into the back of the board. Okay, and now that that's done, all that's left to do is go ahead and hook up our harness. And so I'm going to go ahead and plug this in to the board as well, and then we'll get started on getting the buttons squared away. Alright, we are all plugged up, and it looks like our game is running with no problem. As you can see, I went ahead and flipped the power on while we were back there, and it boots up with no issues. So I've already got the dip switches set on this, so we shouldn't have to mess with anything. Now, all that's left is to get our buttons set up. So let's go ahead and unlock the coin mechanism, and we're going to reach up and Alright, so now we've got our control panel unlocked. I'm going to bring this down. Now as you can see here, there's a bunch of wires, and I'm sure this looks confusing, but it's really a lot simpler than it looks. Each one of these little switches for the buttons has 2 wires coming from it. One color-coded wire that goes straight down into the harness, and a series of black wires that run across and are chained to the top. Those are just ground wires, so we really don't have to worry about those at all. For the sake of this video, I went ahead and just strung the ends for the kick harness up here just to make it a little bit easier. I already have the 2-player side done, so I'm just going to do the 1-player side and show you guys how to do it. So coming from the kick harness that we plugged into the back of the board, these are 3 of the wires coming from it. These little ends here plug directly, let's see if I can get it to focus. A little bit, not too much. But anyway, so you plug these here into these little switches. Now you can probably tell I've labeled mine, so that one says like light punch, and then I have ones that say, you know, heavy punch, light kick. Those are just to remind me which wires go where on the default setup. So I've already got my old ones unplugged for these bottom 3. And so you may be asking, well, how do you know which buttons correspond to which wire? Great question. A lot of the times when you order a kick harness, you'll get a piece of paper with it, and it looks like this. And this right here will explain to you exactly where the wires go. So it looks like for player 1, light kick is blue, medium is red, and heavy is orange. So we have blue, red, orange. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to try and do all this with one hand. We want our light kick, obviously, to be this blue one right here. We're going to go ahead and fasten that wire to the switch. Okay, done. And then we're going to take our red one next, since it said this one's our medium kick. We're going to go ahead and plug that one in. And then lastly, if I can get it out of here, it's a little tangled back here. We have our orange wire, which is our heavy kick. So let's plug that one on. All right, done. So that's really easy, as you can tell. You can buy kick harnesses that just have exposed wires on the end, but I find that those are much harder to deal with. It's worth paying another couple bucks to get the ones with the little clips on the end, just so you can add and take them off and on really, really easy. So now that we've got that done, let's go ahead and flip the control panel back up and lock it into place. So I'll be right back. Okay, we're all locked into place and good to go. So let's test and make sure our sound is good. Let's go with Cyclops and Ryu, and then just anything on the 2-player side. We're just doing this to test our buttons real quick.
Come on! Come and get me!
Okay. Everything looks great. Light, medium, heavy. Light, medium, heavy. And on the 2-player side as well, light, medium, heavy, light, medium, and heavy. So everything looks great. Of course, I was going to see if I could do an air combo with one hand, but there we go. All right, that'll work. But anyway, as you can see, that's all there is to it. It's really not that complicated. The CPS2 boards you have to be careful with a little bit because they do have what's called suicide batteries, which after a certain period of time will encrypt the data on the chips, making the game unplayable unless you can get somebody to basically fix that battery issue. A lot of boards that you can buy online say Phoenixed on them, and that's when somebody's gone in and fixed that whole issue and replaced the battery. This particular board here, this Marvel Superheroes board, has been Phoenixed, so we don't have to worry about that. But even still, the CPS2 boards are pretty easy to find. They're reasonable in price. This Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter board, I think it ran me about $100, so not bad at all. But anyway, I hope you guys have learned something today. This was just kind of a quick and easy setup on how to get a CPS2 board up and running. If you like these kind of arcade videos, just let me know, because I'll be happy to do them whenever I'm toying around with it, which is just about all the time. So anyway, guys, hope you've enjoyed, and thanks for watching, commenting, and of course subscribing. Until next time, stay classic.